Hi everyone, welcome to Honey Drops Tarot. This is a general reading for the sign of Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. Cancer, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of your likes, shares, and subscribes. I truly appreciate it. Just a quick note, please do not fall for any scammers. I will never reach out to solicit for a private reading. I do offer private readings, and if you're interested in signing up for one of those or in making a donation, the information regarding that can be found in the About section of my YouTube page. And I thank you so much in advance. So Cancer, I'm trying to reach 500 subscribers by the end of the year, which pretty much gives me a month to make up almost 300 subscribers. I'm not sure if I'll do it, but it doesn't hurt to ask. If you feel as though anyone in your life can benefit from the messages that you found here, please share my page with them and ask them to subscribe, because it really helps the channel to grow. And thank you so much for that. So it's kind of an overcast day where I am right now, so I may have to turn on a light or two later, but we shall see. Cancer, I started doing something new, which I've never actually done before. Well, I did it in the mutable, fixed, and cardinal sign readings. I'm just going to start doing it and see how it goes. I did a mini meditation before I started your reading, just to see what I could see. And so I wrote down, I'm going to write down 10 things that I see in these mini meditations. And I've dated them for the day that I record, just so that I have a reference point. But tarot is timeless, and these things may not mean anything in this moment, but they may be symbols or synchronicities that you see in the future. So I just wanted to point them out to you. I wrote them down in this journal. They're kind of weird, but it's what I got. Oreo cookie, which I know is like for somebody out there, because I'm not a big fan of Oreo cookies. A bottle cap, like the kind on the top of like a Coke or a beer bottle, those kind of bottle caps that you snap off. A treasure chest in an attic, a green pasture, kind of like the ones they have in Ireland, though I've never been to Ireland, but that's what I saw specifically. Elections and a voting ballot, so literally a piece of paper where you're ticking off the candidates that you would like to vote for. Spine, triangles or pyramids, archways covered in flowers, so very ornate archways that you might see in an opulent garden. Mouse, and a red bag or red purse. So I'm just going to hold it up one more time so you can see what I wrote down. So they may come up in your reading, I'm not sure, but take it as it resonates. So I'm going to be doing your reading today with the Light Seers Tarot, the Great Light Seers Tarot, which actually, you know, the Light Seers Tarot is a deck that I had to warm up to. I delayed buying it for the longest time, and I don't know why, but it's like all of a sudden one day the images resonated with me and I knew I had to have it. And I'm going to be pulling one card from the Gateway of Light Activation Oracle deck by Kyle Gray. So Cancers, I hope you're doing well. Wrapping up the end of the year with this general reading. It's probably going to publish tomorrow, but to cover the next month, December. But again, tarot is timeless. So let's see. Okay, you got the Divine Matrix, interconnectedness, synchronicity, it's so weird, this word. I wanted to read it as coincidences, but the word that they wrote here is God incidences. I've never heard it written quite like that, God incidences. So we see here, we have like, I don't remember what this is called, the flower, the divine flower, or what is this called? I have it on a selenite plate right on my desk. So maybe this is something that it's supposed to project out to you right now, Cancer. There's sacred geometry here. Just kind of meditate on that for a moment. The more you stare at it, the more it starts to kind of become three-dimensional, right? Like spherical. So that could, actually, I have it in black obsidian as well. It's like a mirror. You can see what I see outside my window, which is not anything exciting. It's very strange effect. Now this truly is like a portal, isn't it? That's so strange. What a strange effect. Cancer, I feel, you know, I can do this with you guys because Cancers can dig it, but what a strange effect. Something here about the light and the dark. Almost as though, you know, something with the light is going to be muted, but almost like if you're tapping into your shadow awareness, you may see things that you weren't sure you were going to see. Very much mimicking the card here. So the idea that you are at one with nature, with the divine, understanding that in a very intimate way. If anyone was going to do it, it would be Cancers, right? Cancers, the caretakers of the zodiac. Sometimes, not always. Well, sometimes it's a thankless job, right? Sometimes it's that empathic nature can be a blessing and a curse. But it's almost as if Spirit is saying, you have such a one-on-one connection with Spirit that is, it's almost like when the world is seen through your eyes, right? Just like that reflection, you bring a depth to empathy and compassion that is quite unlike most. It's not to say the other signs don't have it, of course they do, but not quite like a Cancer. So I'm going to pull 4 cards from the main spread, 4 cards of clarifier, past, present, future, and advice from Spirit. And, ooh, okay, we shall see what comes out for you. Well, definitely your reading. It's so beautiful. Just spoiler alert, the Chariot showed up, so he showed up in your own reading. Amazing. Okay, I've been told to look at the bottom of the deck, so I will. 8 of Swords. 8 of Swords talks about analysis paralysis, you know. Maybe there's something in that reflection, right? That reflection that you don't understand or has overcomplicated things. You know, maybe when I held this up, it's almost like, well, I didn't want to see all of that. I just wanted to see the flower here. I didn't want to see everything. And you couldn't help it. You did anyway. And then when you did see whatever it was, it brought a lot of anxiety with it. This is at the bottom of the deck, so it's in the subconscious realm for you. So there could be something that you are deliberating. Swords are air energy, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini energies. So you could be dealing with one of those signs, but it doesn't have to be. But it's something that is taxing you and difficult to overcome at this time. Underneath that card was the King of Cups and the King of Pentacles. 2 kings in reverse. Interesting. Could be dealing with 2 separate divine masculine energies. Doesn't have to be men, but divine masculine energies. They could be at odds with one another, is what I just heard. If this is your energy, you're feeling a lack of stability in your finances, your family unit, your emotional state, and it's got you all up in your head. Okay, let's see where the main reading takes us that can hopefully shed light on that. In the past position, you got the Eight of Pentacles. This is such a beautiful rendition of how Spirit handed an opportunity to you. And sometimes that opportunity doesn't look like a physical thing, right? It's just maybe they quieted this anxiety for half a second for you to actually feel confident in yourself, for you to move forward. So, you know, I'm also Cancer, so like, I'll just give you an example. For me, it was starting this channel. Like, I've been reading tarot for years, and people have said on and off, oh, you should go on to YouTube, and you watch YouTube all the time. You watch all the readers, like, why don't you do it? And it's just like, no. And then one day, it was like things were falling into place. I was starting to see all the gifts that Spirit was bringing through earth angels, through people in my life, conversations, physical objects, the timing of things. I could no longer ignore it. And I was allowed to put my fear, the ego, right, keeps us in fear. I was, you know, the ego saying, oh, well, what if people don't like you? What if, you know, the ego brings up a lot of nasty things. Like, you know, I'm not just be really vulnerable with you right now. It's just like, well, what if I'm not like attractive enough for YouTube? Because people in social media, they're all, you know, like a type. And that's such a stupid, petty, and ridiculous thing. But it was a thought. It was my ego trying to stop me. Like, you're not attractive enough to be doing this. You're not interesting enough. You're not charismatic enough. Like, what do you have to offer? Like, all of these negative things. The Spirit is, somehow the gift is just like, let's just push this aside. Let's just like push this aside for a second and just see what we've given you. We gave you this gift. So for you, Cancer, whatever it is that is your gift, that you know you do so beautifully with, they're allowing you to just have confidence in yourself, you know, to pursue that. Whatever it is for you, in the past energy, you saw it, but there could have been a little bit of trepidation. Four of Cups. Four of Cups is a card of apathy, or just like that rainbow. This is also from Spirit, right? Ace of Cups is here. The Three Cups over here, it's like kind of like not even looking at these cups and just saying, well, I'm just going to stare into the distance and I don't know what's out there for me. This is what you had to overcome in the past energy. This feeling of complacency. I'm just going to stay where I am because it's comfortable. And it, you know, Cancers like to be comfortable, but Cancers also like to be leaders. No one ever, people take that for granted too. You know, they think like, oh, Cancers are so emotional and whatever. They're like crazy, mad, awesome leaders. And I say all those words in the best light of those words. It's like mad, awesome, like leading a movement is what I just heard. Maybe some of you are leading a movement. Let it be in love. Let it be in love. The rainbow energy is all positivity, energetic positivity. I'm going to pull a clarifier on that. Ace of Pentacles, Four of Cups in the past energy. See? What did I just say? Emperor. This is Aries energy, number 4 in the major arcana. The Emperor has the power of all 4 kings. The supreme divine masculine energy. Leader. We're just talking about leaders, and here he shows up. This is the leader among leaders. And it's also further clarified by the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles talks about looking at where you had planted seeds, right? Think of the pentacle as a kind of seed. In the past energy, looking at where you had planted seeds, all these seeds, and you know, there was a little bitty harvest, a little bitty baby. But here's you just saying, like, I'm trying to play with, like, in the big leagues now, right? Like, I'm meant for more. And Spirit is showing you, of course you are. This was your energy, though. You know, maybe it's just kind of looking at that, thinking, can I do it? Can I do it? Can I step into something that is divinely guided, you know? It's like bigger, it's bigger than this, it's bigger than the human existence. Like when I don't just see you, like this could be you starting a business, sure. But it's not, it doesn't stop at that. You're not just starting a business just to have fun. You have a vision. That vision has been implanted in you by Spirit, by your higher self, your divine self. Even if it's, I like to use the food truck example, a restaurant on wheels, because a food truck can be such a massive amount of work, but it also feels so intimate and humble at the same time, that sometimes they can be a family affair, right? Somebody can buy a food truck and then employ their whole family to run it. It's labor, and it's a labor of love. And if you've ever had a favorite food truck, then you know what I'm talking about. It's just like, there are apps sometimes on your phone. Where is the food truck today? I'm gonna go to it, even though it's on wheels. I'm gonna go to the place where that family serves their food, because it's so delicious, right? There's something to be said about what you're offering the world in whatever medium that takes, that means something to someone or will mean something to someone. And it's almost like not your business to have to control that part of the scenario. Like, you can't control the audience. All you can control is yourself. And this is what you were figuring out in the past energy, right? Because this was under your control too. This apathy or this complacency, saying, well, I don't know if greatness is meant for me, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna be okay with what I've been given. There's nothing wrong with being grateful. But when Spirit is staring you down and saying to you, don't you want to be the leader, at least in your own life? And you're looking at what you've harvested, and you didn't do a bad job. You're exactly where you needed to be, right? But it's time, and I think you can feel this. You know, I was watching a San Tarot reading the other day for Cancer, and she started talking about Cancer with relation to Mars energy. That's the planet of war, conquest, right? Not talking about starting any kind of war. There's enough of that in the world. But it could be a war against your own fear. In the present energy, Temperance card in the reverse, this is Sagittarius energy, clarified by the Knight of Wands in the reverse. So interesting. Two in the present moment. So this is fire energy, right? Your past. This is fire energy in your present. So you may have fire in your chart. You may have Sagittarius or Aries in your chart, as Sagittarius is rising. Sagittarius is the sage, is the shaman of the tarot. Worldly energy. The Temperance card talks about patience and transformation. It's a transmutation. It's like one state of being into another state of being. And this is the process that you're going through right now. And I feel as though there's a little bit of growing pains involved, because the methodology that you may have been using before is no longer applicable. What does that mean? It means that whatever you used to do to kind of get by is no longer cutting it, because you're stepping into some very powerful energy for yourself, and it's requiring you to mature, spiritually speaking or energetically speaking, right? I'm not saying you're immature. I'm just saying that there's this like portals opening to a kind of complexity that you have not seen before, right? It's this, when you look in the mirror, it's showing something back to you that you may be surprised at. It's almost like you're surprised at your own divinity. You're surprised at your own power. And that takes some getting. It's like an adjustment. It's like having a chiropractic adjustment, which I've never had, which I really want to have, but I'm slightly scared. But it looks so amazing. Like sometimes I'll just watch chiropractic adjustment videos where people are just like crack, 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 because it just looks like such a relief. You know, one day I'll do it. One day I'll be brave enough to do it. But it's like that. It's like the weight of gravity, or the pull of gravity on our physical bodies, is what actually spine, as I was going to say, is what actually compresses our spine, and all the nerve bundles and muscles and everything wrapped up in our spine, right? Like wow, that's crazy. Sorry, I just have to take a moment with that. The weight of gravity, pull of gravity, we get so used to it after a while. You know, even when we hunch over, our backs are like carrying this burden that is both real and invisible at the same time. Just because it's invisible doesn't mean it's there. It's not there. Gravity, we can't see gravity. We can see the effect of gravity on things, but gravity itself is like energetic. And so it's almost like when you get that adjustment, and think of it now, the spirit's muting my ear, so your spirit guides are with me right now. When you get that chiropractic adjustment or that energetic adjustment, now I'm seeing Reiki attunements. So if you do Reiki, you know, perhaps it is time for an attunement. It's like a release, a freeing up of energy. And it's almost like you have to get to know your body again. You have to get to know yourself again, because you've gotten so used to yourself being in a hunched over, burdensome position, carrying the weight of God knows what, past lives, family lineage trauma, this lifetime trauma, who knows, something, anything, all of it. And then you get that adjustment, it's just like, who are you without that pain? Right? That's what you're in the process of trying to transmute at this time. Thank you, Spirit. And with the Knight of Wands in the reverse, Knight of Wands in the upright can be like really flashy, really somebody that kind of moves in haste. Do you like this mug? I chose it specifically for Cancer reading. Stay wild, Moonchild. This is somebody who is, you know, passionate, for sure. But it's almost as if you're having to rein in It's the difference between just feeding off of primal impulses, which sometimes we need, but it's the difference between feeding off of that and having a more refined approach in how you problem solve or meditate, interface with the world. It's a more refined approach because you are more refined, or you're trying to be, right? So let's pull a clarifier for that. Okay, a clarifier for 3 cards came out. Sorry, 4 cards came out. Beautiful energies. The first one I see here is the Star. The Star is Aquarius energy in the major arcana number 17. You can see her hands over like her heart, just like, now I hear that song, wishing and hoping and praying and whatever the other one is. It's a very old song. Wishing and hoping and praying. It's not just about wishes, it's also about healing. The Star is in the Lantern of the Hermit, also in the major arcana. So it's like when we pull ourselves away from the noise, and as one of my favorite intuitives, I Scry with Steph, she always says, the race and the rush. When we pull ourselves away from the race and the rush, we can quiet all of the anxiety and tap into ourselves and tap into the healing energies. Right? It's like tapping, it's like this. Even the color palette, see, 2 different decks. Look how similar the color palettes are with this beautiful lush purples and that bright light at the center. It's almost like if this was here, it's almost like this card is like what's behind it, you know? It's a little muted, but if you continue to focus on that beautiful complexity, you'll get to a space of healing, is what I feel. You know, I've been really fixated on a vision that I had. It's like from over a year ago. I must have seen some kind of light language or something, and I've been fixating on that a lot lately. These geometric shapes that I saw when I was astral projecting, and there's like a message here. And Cancers, I would not be surprised if all of you have been seeing this in your dream state, in astral projection, when you're doodling and you're bored and you're just doodling on a piece of paper. Do geometric shapes appear and you're just kind of like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know why I drew that. There's some thread that connects the Cancer collective that I have felt that has always been there my entire life. I always know when I meet a Cancer. I feel it through and through and through. And then when I ask them, they're like, oh, I was born in late June, July, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, I knew it. I knew it. I could feel it. Right? So there's something that connects us. And I know that it's coming. It's like coming online if it hasn't already. 3 other cards came out to clarify the Temperance card, which is in reverse. You're still working on it. The 7 of Swords in the reverse. The 10 of Cups in the reverse. Page of Swords in the reverse. These 3 cards together, it's almost kind of like trying to figure out, what is it that makes me happy? What is it that causes this joy and bliss in me? Do I know what that looks like now that I'm trying to lift this burden off of my shoulders? What does happiness actually look like for me? And I'm no longer interested in kind of procrastinating or running away from it, from the question, right? Swords is all about the thinking energy, and the 7 of Swords can be a little trickstery. And And in the reverse, it's kind of like I'm not running away from that question anymore. It's complex. It's complex. It confuses me and frustrates me at times. But I'm looking for the answers. I just don't know where. Page of Swords is student energy, research and reading, gathering intel, ears perked, observing the world, but with a kind of, the word I wanted to say was a fanciful nature, like with fun. But this is in reverse too. It's almost like, where do I even begin? Right? Where do I even begin to look? Spirit is saying, look within. Look within. In the future energy, Six of Cups in the reverse, Queen of Wands in the reverse. Trying to let go of something from the past, an old way of thinking that you may have been really comfortable with. Maybe you grew up thinking that way. It might be a line of teaching, dogma, that you've been trained to perpetuate. This is just how it's always been done. Well, why? And beginning to question that. And in that process, maybe there's a little bit of, rediscovering oneself, because typically the Queen of Wands is somebody very, very outgoing, beautiful, confident. But in the reverse, Queen of Wands can be a little testy, but just not feeling quite like herself, Divine Feminine. Let me pull a card on that. Why is the Queen of Wands in the reverse, Spirit? One card just popped out. Devil, Capricorn energy. Could be dealing with a Capricorn. Or it could be dealing with a lot of negative self-talk, addictions, codependency. I see it more as negative self-talk than anything. Right, see how he's kind of like weirdly underwater, where we reside. The Cancer Collective is all about the water, right? Well, who would want to dig deeper in those watery depths if what you're going to find there is this guy? To that, I would say it's precisely why you have to look at it. You don't have to take his hand, but you have to look him in the eye. I always like to tell people, I get the devil, when I read for myself, and it's just very hard to do these days. I can read very clearly for everybody else, but when I read for myself, I get completely confused. But the devil shows up a lot because it's doubt. It's that pesky doubt, And it's like, he's lurking there in the subconscious and the ego. And Spirit is saying it's what's preventing this Queen of Wands from flipping over and recognizing her absolute stunningness. There's just this seed of doubt. But it's almost like, you know what I see? I see this. It's like, bye. Just flicking it away. Like, I tell people, we always have a little bit of the devil energy floating around our orbit or within us. And it's always going to be there. It's like, that's the struggle of living a human life. I think it's the shadow and the light, which is where we started, right? We started with the shadow and the light. And what did I say? That it's in the shadow energy where you're going to see something that you haven't looked at yet, that you see with a different perspective. It's precisely this. And you know what it is. It's different for everyone, but you know what it is. Addiction, codependency, negative self-talk, being trapped and bound to someone or something, to a job. something toxic. Whatever that first thing you thought of, that's the thing. That's the thing to be overcome right now. And Spirit's advice to you is 2 massive major arcana. The first one being the Chariot, light and dark. You know, I choose the cards intuitively. I choose the decks intuitively. The cards flip out on their own when I shuffle. There's a reason why you're seeing this black and white right now. There's a reason why. I mean, I don't think I've ever shown these 2 plates on camera before. There's a reason. It's a mastery. The Chariot is Cancer energy in the major arcana, number 7. It's a mastery over the self. And when you have that mastery, you push forward in victory. Clarified by the Death card, fellow water sign, Scorpio energy, death and rebirth. And I'm going to point this out here too. This light energy is all about healing. All of it. So now it's almost like if I could hold these cards at a distance from each other, right? You have that brand new awakening, the death and the rebirth, opening up windows to healing. It's really beautiful. Look for your synchronicities. Let me know if you see any of these in your travels. Would love to hear. That's your reading, Cancer. I hope that it resonated. If it did, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Please hit the bell notification to be updated as to when I post new readings. Thank you, Cancer.